Hi, Pia.
Hi, Emily.
Pia sent me something from TikTok that was an interview Heather did. Was that when was she on Nick Vale's podcast or Vial or whatever?
Yeah.
Can you please play it? Because I did not have a chance to listen. And now that we're talking Orange County, I think it's important.
I wasn't Taylor at...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it just wasn't interesting. She texted me.
You want to read
This is
it?
breaking news. I don't know where my phone is. She texted me.
We can grab it
to
for
find
you.
the phone.
Yeah.
Find the phone. Hi, Heather. I apologize for my part in the conflict we had in our relationship. I've always really liked you, and I would really like for us to start fresh. Hope all is great with you and your family. And then on Sunday,
This is a very sweet message.
she sent me a picture of myself.
Oh,
Without
was it a photo
words?
of you?
No words, just a photo.
Did you reply to either
I
of
didn't.
those?
Why not?
So we finished filming this season in November, last year in November, so a year ago. And I, on the group chat, said, hey, let's all have dinner for the holidays. And Tamra said, absolutely not, because we were arguing. I go, I respect that, but is there a scenario where we could just put our shit aside and pick this up in the new year? And she said, no. And then Shannon texted and said she was busy with no explanation. Okay, so the rest of us all went out. I sat next to Taylor. We had a nice time. A couple nights later, they have another holiday dinner and invited everyone except me.
Oh.
And Taylor posted a photo and wrote holiday dinner, hashtag dream team. This is after on the show, she comes after my IMDb, she comes after my thing, and there was so much more to all that. And then between December and the reunion, multiple interviews she gave. Watch What Happens Live. The Watch What Happens Live she did that aired right before the reunion, she got on there and said, my career is one and done. Everything I've done is one and done. So I had said she was anti-female with the way that she spoke to me and the way she denigrated my career. So she sat in part one of the reunion, she sat there and she was like, I have worked so hard for battered women. I go, yeah, that's great. I love what you've done with that. But the truth is, putting down another woman's career is anti-female. Going on Watch What Happens Live 2 days ago and saying everything I did in my career is one and done is anti-female. When I went on there and they asked me about her, I said, when I read with her, I thought she did a great job. I'm so happy she's having another chapter to her life and starting a new career. I think it's great.
Is there a friendship to mend?
I don't have a lot of time.
Okay. So it's just not a priority.
I have 4 kids and 12.
I wasn't Taylor at...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like that kind of gives a little bit more context to part one of like the whole Taylor, like her saying Taylor's anti, female. I think that that's an important.
Did she say that they had that holiday party without her after the reunion?
No, so all of this.
Was after rapping.
Immediately after rapping.
Okay.
So I think that Heather's just trying to
give context.
Because, that the Taylor portion of part one was so quick. I feel like, and they didn't really get into the nitty gritty because Taylor immediately just was like bombarding her with like all the things that she's done. That is amazing. But
yeah.
But like two things can be true at the same time, that like just because you do all these nice and great things for, battered women, what you did in between her, like with Heather specifically, kind of contradicts what you stand for a little bit. And that's okay to admit as well. And I think that she was just trying to give a little more context of like why she said that. You know what I mean? It wasn't just stuff on the show.
And Taylor played all dumb. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna need to sit down with me and remind me of that and show me what those things."
I
are,
like the
I don't even know what
archive
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Check your archives. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's really sad. I feel bad for Heather actually.
That was
everyone but her.
And you know what? That actually also plays into part two when we, obviously get into it towards the end, where that tracks what Heather said to Tamra at the end, where she was like, it doesn't matter, like, if we're beefing, or what Tamra said about Heather, like she's always like, willing to wish me a happy birthday, be there for me, Christmas, you know what I mean? So this kind of tracks what Heather says. Like, even though we weren't in a good place, I still wanted to get together. I still wanted to like keep the sisterhood. So.
Yeah.
Interesting, I thought.
I thought that Shannon made a complete fucking ass of herself this reunion. I thought she looked pathetic. I was actually kind of reveling in it because I have been like such a Shannon hater. And I know she's a fan favorite, and she's actually, I was surprised that she'd been a fan favorite for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching Orange County before knowing that there was this like online community of Bravo content. So like I didn't really know what the fan feedback was about Shannon until I started my account. And then I was like, wait, everyone loves Shannon?
I actually was never a fan of Shannon. I think I've said it on your pod before, but the only season where I actually liked her was last season.
Yeah.
And I was shocked, but you know what it is? I also am a sucker for being with the person that's everyone's ganging up on, because I just hate the gang up mentality. It's just you automatically like it's just hard for me to side with. That's how
the reality TV audiences always do that. Like people need to realize that. Okay, you gotta, if you want to get a point across, have one person lead it. Because if you got all of you guys coming at the person, we naturally like go to defend them.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not fair. It's not a fair fight. And also I just didn't see what the gripe was with Shannon last season. She just wasn't really active last season. She was almost dormant. So it's like all of this like energy that keeps going towards her. I'm like, I don't understand it. Like this season, I get it. You know what I mean? It's warranted. She's been saying things. Last season, no.
Was Tamra fired and missed 2 seasons?
So I think what happened was there was a COVID situation. So I think she was let go before COVID. Then we didn't really have. So she's technically been on pause for a couple of years, but I think she really only missed 1 season.
Because was there a season with just Kelly and Shannon together without Tamra?
I mean, wait.
Right?
Oh, maybe she has missed 2 seasons.
I can't recall, because I remember that's part of why Tamra was mad at Shannon.
You know what? I think she has missed 2 seasons, because I do think that there was a season where it was just her and or was it? You know what? Actually, now, God, okay, yeah, we'll have to look later. I don't want to.
We'll just look it up right now.
Okay,
because now it's going to bug me. Okay, so here we go. We're at 17. Last was 16. Let's look at 15 and what was happening on 15. I'm not seeing any. I've got Bronwyn, Shannon, no Tamra. Okay, so yeah, she missed 15 and 16.
Okay.
That was a bit of a pause then. And because I know that's also, wait, really though? Is that right? Because were her and Shannon on the outs for that long? I guess so. Bronwyn opens up to Gina. Yeah, because that's right. Tamra wasn't there for that horrible reunion where it was after, like, Bronwyn, Kelly, and Kelly was like, I'm black. That one?
Yeah.
Tamra wasn't there for that. Wow, so 2 seasons. So her feud with Shannon was longer than I thought. Like, Tamra and Shannon, they were on the outs for longer than I realized. Because I know that Tamra got pissed at Shannon posting a picture with Kelly and being like in solidarity with Kelly, because they were still coming off of that Jim Bellino lawsuit where Kelly had been like defending Jim Bellino and basically throwing them under the bus.
Right. Okay.
Well, okay, that explains even more than why she was so much more desperado when she came back, you know?
Yeah, I think Tamra, out of anybody who's been put on pause, has been like the most like transparent of like her desperosity to be back on the show, and then like her not taking it well.
Well, you know, maybe even Teddy might get that award too, but she's just so like lame that you're like, that's never gonna happen, Teddy.
I don't agree with that, because Teddy tries to be like, I don't care, and I know that bitch does. I feel like she does. I feel like she's like, she tries to act like I don't really listen to I've never listened to a full podcast, but I've seen clips here and there. And I feel like she, like when people are talking about Beverly Hills and like how, like she kind of makes it seem like, I choose not to film. Like I can. And you know, you know what I mean? It's almost like if I wanted to like be a friend of, I could. And I choose not to. Whereas Tamra, I always felt like she was like, I want to be on this fucking show. Like, it's not, she's not hiding that. Does that make sense? That's the energy difference I feel. But I'm like, but Teddy can't keep Bravo out of her mouth, so I'm like,
Yeah, all she does now is talk about it.
Exactly.
Okay, Shannon and Gina, they're picking up on that argument, and of course Shannon doesn't remember it, so she's having a very hard time apologizing, but she wants to make it very clear that she never in that statement was insinuating that her kids would be taken away. I meant only if an adult wasn't present. Girl, it's the same thing. Like,
yeah,
it was a fucked up statement. Just, it would be so much easier, Shannon, but Shannon can't admit when alcohol comes up. Like, if it's alcohol related, she gets so defensive, but it would help you, tremendously if you were just like, I was wasted. I really in no way was CPS going to come. But she's still she's sort of doubling down on it even again.
Yeah.
And again. For being like, that's not what I meant. It's like, but you said, yes, it was.
Yeah, she has a really hard time. Like, the only way she allows herself to admit fault is by having some type of justification for it or explanation. And it's never like an outright, I'm sorry, I never should have said it. It was like, this is what I meant, and so you're it's taking out of context, and I'm like, that's beyond the point. Like, it should never have been said. It doesn't matter what you meant. Period. Like, it's just say sorry. But the thing is, Shannon will hold other people, specifically Heather, to a different standard where, like, Heather is saying, that's not what my intention was, that's not what I did, but, like, she can't hear that.
She can't let that go. The way she handled Heather, oh my God.
It's just
Shannon
frustrating.
was a mess. Shannon was such a fucking disaster in this whole thing. She even looked like a disaster.
Yeah. No.
With that fucking hair and that makeup. And I noticed what you taled about with the line.
Yes.
The line, I couldn't, now that's all I could stare at every time she talked. I was like, just someone go in there and blend it into the hair.
It's so funny because I think at some point in the reunion, she asked Andy, it was just like, I need to get my makeup touched up or something. So like, you do.
Yeah, like not just here, around the perimeter of that big ass weave you've got going.
Good Lord.
Andy sends them on a break and Heather checks in on Gina. She's like, do you feel like you got it all out? And then Gina's like, no. And Heather goes, of course not, because it's not a real apology. It never is. It's like, yes. I want Heather, and I know she's not going to, but I wish Heather would lean into her utter dislike of Shannon. Because it's valid. Okay? I feel like I don't understand why they want her friendship so badly. Like, I wish Gina, when Shannon's like, I don't like you, she was like, girl, I haven't liked you either, so it's fine. I just wish everyone wants Shannon's friendship so bad for some reason.
I kind of have a small theory that, again, because Heather wasn't my favorite last season, but again, I realize I think it's mostly because of Gina was why I didn't like her. But Heather did lean into her dislike of Shannon last season. And I don't think she got the response that because it did feel mean because then Emily and Gina jumped on that train. And I do think that Heather had a reason to feel that way, but then you got Gina and Emily piggybacking and jumping, and it did feel like a gang up. So I feel like Heather
staying away from that potentially.
And I think that she is smart because if you, like, again, when we get into it, she tells Gina and Emily that they should try to distance each other as a strategy. And I agree with that because I think that people don't like them because they don't like their pairing. So I think that she was saying that not to be like to put a wedge, but as like a strategy for them to be more likable on the show. And I think Heather is really good at like observing and seeing like, okay, I see how that could come off. I see the fan feedback and I'll change.
And I don't know if that's bad.
I don't think it's bad. I just think
that their point though is that she's different. Like Heather, that's Emily's big thing is like, you're different. And I will say when we get into it, there were a few moments where I'm like, oh, Heather, you did get busted talking shit.
Oh, yes.
Like, and you're trying to like make it sound like you weren't trying to be shady.
1000%.
Yeah. Like you were definitely talking shit.
Oh yeah. I had moments like that. I was like, but I respected the spin.
The spin was her spins are kind of better than anybody's.
Yeah, I respect the spin, but I'm also not stupid, and whatever. Again,
Tamra does the same shit. So Tamra can't talk. Tamra talks open shit about people, then she's like, what I said was, and then she like parses out the thing that was actually kind of positive about it.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess, technically, but not really. That wasn't the sentiment.
And the thing is, and that's why we like watching them, though. Like, I need you to be able to do that. And it's never a subject that's too serious where I'm, like, mad about it. So I'm like, whatever. You know, I can let it go if you do a good spin. It's not, it's, you know what I mean? It's not a serious subject. So I'm like, whatever, I can let that go. You didn't like, steal from the elderly or, like, you know what I mean?
When they go to lunch, her glam person's like walking around. She's like, I'm fucking up. I'm doing a horrible job. I'm fucking up.
I'm glad she knew, though.
On the verge, this whole fucking thing. Heather talks to Jen. I'm noting this because I think Jen is fully team Shannon. But Heather, when they go to lunch, Heather's talking to Jen about how fucked up the CPS comment was. And when they pan over to Jen, I was like, oh, I don't know if you should be talking to Jen about Shannon. Shannon and Jen seem to have formed this, like, alliance because of their shitty boyfriends.
1,000%.
And I was like, Heather, be careful.
Shannon is, I can understand as again, all strategies, such a strategy. I can understand Jen wanting to align herself with Shannon because Shannon is the only person that consistently, even though I don't think it's because she actually cares about Jen, but because she has ulterior motives, like we talked about last week, Shannon's the only one vocally that will, like, say stuff. Like, even against Tamra when people are attacking Jen in her relationship, because, again, but it's not because she cares. It's because she's just really also trying to remind everyone, don't talk about Janssen.
It's like, it's another chance for her to be like, we shouldn't talk about relationships, right, guys? That's the one rule we have, right?
But yeah, I think Jen is taking whatever she can get at this moment.
Totally. Totally. But then Shannon's all, shut the fuck up, Gina. And Tamra goes, yeah, she's had a lot to say. Well, okay, it's about the CPS comment. I can't believe Tamra is even trying to back up Shannon on this one. I'm like, no, Gina has a lot to say, and for once, she's allowed. For once, we allow it, okay? Gina's usually pretty annoying, but right now.
I texted this to my friends. I cannot even believe me being team Gina this entire fucking reunion.
No.
I cannot believe that I agreed from beginning to the end of this fucking reunion with Gina the entire goddamn time. What the fuck is happening? Like,
not happening.
What? I can't.
Confused.
I'm so confused about everything.
This is what's so weird about Housewives. Like, if you stay on a show long enough and everyone kind of hates on that person, there will come a moment at some point where you're like, are they making sense?
Yeah. And
it's annoying.
And I don't know if she is going to the school of Heather, where she looked at this season and just noted where she went wrong, and she's just doing damage control. She's like, I was being annoying about Jen in the beginning. Projection. I'm like, okay, great. I don't have to talk about that. And like, she's
That's
just saying, the list. She's just saying everything that I had issue with, and so then I therefore I have nothing to fucking say about her. And I'm like, God damn it! I was ready to go off on this bitch. Okay, I was like, well,
she got the notes. She got the notes.
But it also, I do like when these type of things surprise me, or, like, you know what I mean? In the sense of, it kind of makes me know that I am capable of being objective and changing my opinion if it's warranted. Because y'all know I don't like Gina, but I can't sit here and not say she didn't make sense this entire reunion.
She did.
I'm not going to lie.
I'm not going to lie. It's just, we have to give her that credit. Shannon made it easy. Because Shannon really was a mess. So Shannon made it easy for us to be like, Gina's making some sense here.
Shut up! That is so stupid!
Not too long ago, my skin was starting to break out constantly. I didn't want to go anywhere. I know that's dramatic, but I felt like everyone was just staring at it. So ruined a lot of stuff for me, I gotta say. So that's why I'm really pumped that we are partnered up with Apostrophe. They are the sponsor for this episode. Apostrophe is an online platform that connects you with an expert dermatology team to get you customized acne treatment for your unique skin. Through Through Apostrophe, you can get access to oral and topical medications that use clinically proven ingredients to help clear up acne. You fill out an online consultation about your skin goals and your medical history. Then you snap a few selfies, and a dermatology provider will create your customized treatment plan. Customized. Apostrophe offers access to prescription treatments for all types of acne, from hormonal acne, which is what I was dealing with, to facial acne, and even back, chest, and butt acne. I like that this is a customized plan because a lot of the time it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. So they go through all of your medical history. They ask you a ton of questions that will be vital to the type of treatment you get. There's also no in-person appointment or a trip to the pharmacy needed. It all comes shipped to you. It's all online, super convenient. We have a special deal for our audience. Get your first visit for only $5 at apostrophe.com/SheSpeaks. When you use our code SheSpeaks, that's a savings of $15. Okay? This code is only available to our listeners. To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/SheSpeaks and click Get Started. Then use our code SheSpeaks at sign up and you'll get your first visit for only $5. Thank you, Apostrophe, for sponsoring this episode.
I love that.
Okay, anyway, back to set. They do Shannon's package. It's all John Janssen stuff. Shannon says that the reason Heather hurt her so much with everything was because they had actually been like double dating before filming picked back up. And when filming picked back up, Shannon makes her hands, she goes, on less fingers than on this hand, we talked about fights, and you encouraged me to talk about fights with John Janssen on the show. And I said, but I want to work on things, Heather.
She never brought it up on camera.
She never brought it up on camera.
So she did keep what she said to you. She never brought it up.
True.
She never brought it up.
Shannon, her level of I was just like, it was what was hard to watch when she was with David and he had cheated on her and she was like, we're going to stay married because that's what you do. And she thought it was like a badge of honor, but it's like, this man doesn't like you, girl. And so now she's in another shitty relationship with this John Janssen character. And it's a bad relationship. And once again, everyone is like sworn to secrecy and just having to pretend with whatever narrative Shannon wants them to talk about. It's not their responsibility to lie for you and to pretend you're in a good, you know what I mean? That's just not their job.
I 100% agree with all of that. And I guess I'm just more so frustrated at like Tamra and Shannon in this situation because Tamra, I'm not mad that Tamra brought it up. I knew what she was doing. She's very desperate. She was just trying to like, you know, she went after Jen. She pretty much was just trying to like make sure she was relevant on the show. And I understood that tactic, but then put it all on Heather, which I didn't like. Like, if you're going to bring it up, you own that, bringing it up.
She
you own
still
everything.
Didn't own it. They didn't push her enough on that. When Andy says, like, you talked about, she's like, I never brought up the relationship. And then they showed the package of her bringing up the relationship. I'm like, you're not going to say that in person?
I will say this. I was actually shocked at how hard Andy kept trying to drive everyone back to he said it quite a lot, like that Tamra was the person who did this. And everyone was refusing to talk about it, which I just think people are just so terrified of Tamra.
They are.
They just are. And that's why she gets away with it.
Mm-hmm. She can get out of anything. That girl.
Yeah.
Out of anything. Shannon says that she finds out that Gina's talking about her relationship. Tamra, and to Heather, she says, you were the only person I discussed my relationship with. I know you're fucking lying.
Like they all said it. They all said it on the show that she's called them drunk talking about her relationship. They've all said that. So that's just a lie. Like Heather is not the only person that you talk to about this.
Like that's
maybe you don't remember.
Factually incorrect. Shannon says that what Heather did, though, was say that their relationship is not good. But Shannon looked crazed when she did this. But I can't tell you because it's in the vault. And Heather said on camera, though, she's like, I said on camera that it was not like anything super crazy bad, though. Do we believe that Heather intended for people not to go crazy with the imagination?
I actually don't think
agree.
I don't think that Heather, like, why I can understand why people may have, because first of all, the relationship is bad. So it's not hard to, like, take your imagination there. But I think that was just the terminology that Heather and Shannon used when they were talking. And so that I feel like that's why she just kept repeating it's in the vault. Like, I feel like whenever they were talking, she probably was like, don't worry, it's in the vault. And then that's why she just keeps saying it, because that is what she said to Shannon. And everybody, we're interpreting what that might mean and what's in a vault. A vault, anything can be in a vault.
Anything could be in a vault. Like, the relationship isn't good. Wait, what do you mean? Well, nope, it's in the vault. I can't talk about it. I told her I wouldn't say anything. But then if Tamra goes and repeats that, for example, she'll be like, it's in the vault. Can't tell. You know what I mean? When the game of telephone happens, it makes it seem like it was more intentional.
And that was all season.
I also can wrap my head around Heather wanting more people to know the truth about it. Like, especially Jen being like, well, she says her relationship's fine. It's like, Jen, no, you're new. You don't really know what's going on here.
I just really think that it is as innocent. I know that's not exciting, but I just think it was an innocent, like, everyone in that group knows what's going on, with the exception of Jen. And they all just kind of just, like, chatted about it.
They all talk about it because that's what you do when you have that friend that's in that shitty relationship, where they call you and tell you about it. And then you have to be like, oh, hi. Hey, cool. Person that we know is horrible. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has to talk about that. You have to get it off your chest.
I think the difference is everyone on that cast, with the exception of Heather, they always, like, there is all, again, everything is so strategy. They're like, okay, I can, like, bring this up on camera. Like, these are things that we can talk about later. And Heather, I feel like this was just, like, not something that she cared about necessarily bringing up. So I feel like that's why everyone was getting so frustrated with her, because she was like, I wasn't like feeling like I was going to make this part of my storyline. So, but I'm okay to sit here and listen to you, but this is not my storyline. And I think that frustrates everyone else. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sure she had shit to say to them privately, but I don't think that Heather was interested on doing that on camera. Again, but everyone's different. Like,
when Shannon goes, we get in fights sometimes. Andy goes, fights that paralyze you. And that was shade.
Honestly, I think I was really honestly over Andy Cohen with hosting reunions, and he brought my ass right back with this. Oh, this was a very good OC reunion for him, hosting wise. I was in it. I loved it, and I hope he keeps his energy up. It was funny. Great. It was great.
And she's like, yes. And then she explains the most toxic way that they fight. He will ditch her and not speak to her for days. But then she goes, I have never been more in love with anyone in my life than I have been with John Janssen. Honey, that's not love. This is a toxic relationship, honey. He's convinced, you're convinced you're in love with him because he's constantly withholding his love from you, and that is intoxicating. Intoxicating. Then she talks about how he said he would take the next steps, and they show us that unseen footage of the scene he thought that was going to make it to air, where he's like, I think we have a lot. He looks so fake too. Like, Shannon, I hate to be a bitch, but you should feel stupid, okay? Because this man was so clearly using you, and you were lying for him.
Yeah.
They were like, don't feel dumb. I'm like, no, she can feel dumb. You can feel dumb, but let's learn a lesson from this. And we got to learn, though. We got to learn a lesson, okay? Because you're not learning.
Typically, I would have empathy in a situation like this, but because Shannon is a very stubborn and willfully stubborn person and willfully ignorant, I do think she needs embarrassment to be able to change. So if we all need to kind of give it to her
like,
a little.
Yes, you should be embarrassed.
Yeah, like, I don't want, I need her to feel that way. Just like I do think that she'll probably reevaluate her drinking now because she hit that house and endangered her dog, which I do know she loves. So I feel like she's just a type of person that needs to literally hit rock bottom to be able to change.
I'm a little worried that Shannon is still not looking into her drinking the way she should. It's just an instinct, I feel.
I think that she is I agree with you. I think that she will be more, like, outwardly cautious, or, like, of how she comes off. Like, I don't think we'll see her, like, being drunk necessarily if she stays on the show, because she doesn't want people to think that she's not taking it seriously. But I don't think that she's going to think that she has a drinking problem because of this. I think she's going to think it's because she is mourning her relationship, and that's why.
It's that. Because she's so afraid of someone telling her she can't drink. Right. It's her biggest fear. It's been her biggest fear from like day one. Her drinking has been a topic of conversation since we first met her. Like her kids even teased her. Remember? Like, yeah, they were like, "We can't do stuff that you do," and she or something like that's adult stuff. And they're like, "What? Like drinking?" And she's like, "Okay, go to your room." I'm like, so it's been a topic of conversation for quite some time. She has the story she told about when she had the bruise on her. From trying to break the door down after her and David got into a fight. I'd been drinking and I tried to break the door down and cops were called and I'm like, girl, you're wild.
Yeah.
These are some wild fucking stories just to be skating over. Like,
do we know if she's in therapy or at all?
Yeah, she's in some sort of outpatient program with an alcohol emphasis.
Okay.
I don't even, anyone could say that.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. I just think it'd be cool to know that she just realizes like maybe right now alcohol's not for me. It doesn't have to be permanent, but it's the fact that she just probably never wants to say that.
Yeah. I mean, look at Gina. Like, I don't even think she had, like, it's so interesting. I know that Gina had the DUI, but I never really equated her with having a drinking problem. But interestingly enough, I don't think she ever wanted to get to that point, and she's just chosen to eliminate alcohol in her life because she looked at her actions and she just didn't like what it could have cost her.
But Shannon, as soon as you bring it up, it becomes like a whole stuttering Shannon whatever situation.
Oh my
Heather,
God.
Heather
Sorry,
asked Shannon,
I just reflected on how much I feel like I've changed my opinion on Gina, and it's like hard. It really is. Okay.
I know it's not easy. It really isn't. Until we see how she goes next season, this may just be a good reunion performance.
Right.
You know, she may come in next season like, never mind, she Gina'd again.
Yeah.
Heather asked Shannon if she really thinks that she was behind the scenes, like manipulating things. And Shannon is like just in tears I do, Heather. I do. Heather's like, please don't get angry with me. You tend to call some of us after you've been drinking. Shannon gets immediately incensed. You know what, Heather? That's a fucked up thing to say. It's really not. It's really not.
It's actually, this is why it pisses me off. Heather tried so hard to choose her words wisely.
No way. You can't say the word drinking and Shannon.
But
panics.
I know. But the thing is, what pisses me off is that literally in the top of like the episode 1 or 2, Tamra calls her a drunk to her face in front of people. And it's just like, no one holds Tamra accountable for anything. Like, it's just like Heather just implies that when you drink, you overshare. And Tamra just says you're a fucking alcoholic drunk. And it's like, whatever.
Ooh, good point. Emily goes, you're the epicenter, we're the aftershock. I was like, ooh, okay, Emily, that was kind of good. Shannon always with the question. She always says this, do I go out and drink sometime? She always starts that. But then like, you didn't actually answer that. She goes, for you to say I need rehab, for you to paint a picture like I'm calling people every single night, for you to say that I can get a breathalyzer on the phone. Emily's like, you should. It's a good invention. I think that would. And I was like, these aren't insults. Like, if I was notorious for drunk dialing my friends, and I'm defensive over that, then I have an issue with drinking. But if I was notorious for drunk dialing friends, and when my friends pointed it out, and I was like, shut up, that's just so fucking rude. It's like, girl, you are so obviously defensive over your drinking because you know it's pretty much a problem. Oh, it's very triggering. Shannon is very triggering for me.
I'm not going to lie, I had to, after watching part 1, I just kind of checked out from Shannon because she made it very clear to me. She was not interested in anything that anybody had to say. She came in there with what her agenda and nothing was moving that. So I was like, I listened, but I was just like, I had to like disconnect and to save my mental with Shannon, honestly.
Yeah, she's fucking drive me nuts. Yes. When she goes, you don't know, I've never had an intimate conversation with you. You don't know anything about my personal in-depth life. When Gina goes, If we don't know anything about you, then what are we doing here? I said, well done.
God.
Well done.
Damn
Because,
it.
Shannon, how do they not know anything about you when they've been working with you on a show about your life for all of these years?
Right.
Like, people who say, you don't know anything about my life, it's like, oh, we do. You just don't like what we know.
Right.
What secret thing are we not seeing? We see it, okay?
Yeah.
We fucking see it. And then Shannon, let me reiterate, I don't like you. Embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you, Shannon. Like, you're picking on this, like, Gina next to Shannon, they look like this two polar opposite people. Like, looks like Gina could be Shannon's daughter.
Right. And then that's the thing is, like, if it wasn't for this show, in no world would you guys hang out. You guys, the age is not... It's not even just the age gap. You guys just, like, it doesn't make any sense. Your personalities are so different. The things that you like to do are so different. Your whole morality is, like, it's just doesn't make any sense. So, like, yeah, okay, great. You don't like her. Fine.
Exactly. Emily says that she like, if you share stuff with us, Shannon, we're filming a reality show and you act like you don't know how this works.
I was living for everyone just being like,
we're not playing this game with you, Shannon.
yeah, like, yes, we need to break the fourth wall a little bit here because it's just like
if you don't want anyone to talk about it, don't bring it up.
Rule number 1 on being on a reality show: if you don't want that shit to ever come out, you keep it in your vault. You don't tell not a goddamn person, because there's always a possibility that it will come the fuck up. That's why I would never do a reality show, because it always used to be like, people don't do this in friendships. They don't call people out for stuff. Like, it's a weird thing to do, but you have to, because otherwise we would have nothing to watch.
Yes.
You have to do this.
And Shannon thinking that it's their I mean, I think even during the whole David thing, she was expecting a lot of secrets to be held from the cameras. So it's like she's really confused about what everyone else's role is.
Yeah.
For her, it's like, it's not to keep you protected in the storyline you want, because no one else is protecting us.
Right.
Ugh, Shannon. And
like, Tamra doesn't even do that for you.
Tamra, and then Andy's like, it sounds like they've all had conversations about the relationship, but Tamra put it all on Heather. And Shannon's like, I had a conversation with Gina in March of 2020, and I haven't had one since. I just thought it was so weird how, like, specific. It was March of 2020 that I had one conversation about my relationship with Gina. Tamra actually does defend Gina, and she's like, she didn't even go after your relationship, though. And Shannon, well, I apologize because I was told that you did. And then Gina's like, so then why don't you like me? I was like, oh. And Shannon goes, she brings up Gina's first season. This is why. You said I masked with alcohol. That's what you're mad at? That all those seasons ago, when we all could see that you were drinking way too much, you're mad at Gina for saying that?
Yeah.
Masking with alcohol is also not bad. It's just a very common thing people do.
It was an observation at best.
And so Gina's like, hello, our job is to say how we feel. And Shannon with pathetic line, my job is to be Shannon Storms Bador. Girl, someone get her off the set.
Yeah, she was like really going off
the
rails.
It was not good. It was bad. Like, your instincts that you were doing a bad job are correct. Okay.
Absolutely. I'm glad she knew, though. I feel like she was watching herself from, like, above, and it was just
she couldn't stop herself. Just
yeah,
like, this isn't good.
I know she went home like, fuck. Like, fuck.
And she didn't go out with everyone. She went out with her glam team after. Like, Emily.
Who wants to sit in there and just know that you fucked up?
You're like, I gotta
go.
No
one's
here.
Sitting through a dinner. You need to surround yourself with people who you pay to tell you that you're great.
You did great. You did so well. All right.
That's what you do.
Totally. Shannon tries to be like, I've done so much. I've taken my shirt off on TV, and everyone's like, blah, blah, blah. We all have. You can't say that here in this group.
Yeah.
I will say that Gina, for many seasons, though, did not tell the truth about her relationship or her life, and that actually pissed me off quite a bit, but I have forgiven her, kind of. But, like, Tamra has, Emily has, so, like, Shannon, knock it off. Your life is just more tragic, Shannon.
Yeah.
Like, you make a more tragic life for yourself so there's more content. Viewer question, how is Heather the bad guy when Emily brought it up on camera and Tamra brought it up in front of Vicky?
I'm just really happy because I got enough of like accountability for like the fact that Heather, because I was like, I felt so gaslit by the entire cast the whole season. And I'm like, unless there is a scene that was cut, Heather did not bring this up first. And every time asked, it was initiated by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So
when Emily tells the story, though, I was like, okay, fair. That this was like, damn. Heather said to the crew after they had wrapped, when are you guys going to start following their real relationship? Yeah, that's starting something.
Okay, I actually didn't understand. So thank you for clarifying. I didn't understand that. What I thought, okay, so I misheard it then. Okay. When I thought that what Emily was saying was that they were talking about it in and she said, I thought she made that comment to Emily and Gina, but that makes more sense that she made it to production. I thought that production was just around, so that was why it was like annoying. Okay.
And Heather's like, but we've all talked about it. Like, we've all said that you don't show what's really going on. And then she goes, and that turned out to be true. And Shannon goes, thank you for bringing that up in front of production. But Tamra, thank God Tamra did this part. She goes, but aren't you kind of glad she brought it up because now he dumped you? But then Emily goes, wait, are you guys together? Shannon crying, no, we're not together. And I heard you say that we were together. Of course I'm not together with him. Now we know you have been together the whole time. She sobs about how she sees him checked out and she feels embarrassed. And they're like, don't feel embarrassed. I'm like, no, she can feel embarrassed. But Jen, of course, tries to stand up for Shannon. And she's like, she was just trying to protect her relationship. Sit this one out, Jen.
It's so fun. Like they are a good little duo together because now Jen is talking about Heather, but talking about herself. They love to do this.
This is just ridiculous. Like,
so, Jen, we get it. You don't want us to. You want us to have empathy for your situation. I heard.
You should not be coming to Shannon's defense right now because it's not a good, like, you're not the one. Maybe Heather could, but like, we know what you're doing. Okay?
Correct.
The rumors, the nastiness about her.
I know you've heard me talk about Cozy Earth a million times, but I kid you not. I have 3 sets of sheets, 2 shirts, and 3 pants from Cozy Earth now. Luxury goods that transform your lifestyle. That is what Cozy Earth has. Cozy Earth has been featured on Oprah's Favorite Things 5 years in a row, okay? All products are made from responsibly sourced viscose from bamboo, and all products come with a 10-year warranty. I don't know how they do that. Cozy Earth bedding is temperature regulating, okay? And it's available in viscose from bamboo, but also in linen. Cozy Earth loungewear offers optimal comfort while maintaining a flattering, dare I say, elegant fit. Cozy Earth provided an exclusive offer for my listeners today, up to 35% off site-wide when you use the code SHESPEAKS. 35% off is a great deal, guys. That is why I have purchased so many things using my code. So go to CozyEarth.com and use the code SHESPEAKS to get up to 35% off site-wide.
Enough! Andy brings up her posting on social media with him, and Shannon said it's hard with her kids having like left for college, but they encourage her to hang out with him. I doubt it.
I don't believe that for 1 second. I don't believe that I've seen her kids on the show. They do not seem like the type that would blow smoke up her ass. I think that if we were putting like Teresa Giudice in this, her kids
would say whatever.
Her kids like to blow smoke up her ass.
Mm-hmm.
So, but not David Bedore's children.
No way.
They're very honest. Like, Mom, I'm never moving back. I will never be like. They're just very honest.
Mm-hmm. Viewer question, why was John, who is a private person, with someone who's on a reality show? And Shannon goes, see, this is what we talked about, Heather. Yes, this is what we talked about. Tamra goes, well, what's the answer? She still had it. She's just can't cry. She's like, I hate that after 3 years, I don't have a solid answer for that. Girl, why you don't like this man? You just concerned if he likes you, but he's a piece of shit. He's a douchey piece of shit. If you don't have a solid answer for why he comes to life when the cameras are up, it's bad. He's a bad guy.
I mean, I get it. You needed someone after the whole divorce, and that man moved on so quickly. So it's this attractive-ish, I guess, man gives you some attention, and you're not feeling like your best self, I guess. You latched on, and you were. I feel like she didn't think that she would be able to find anybody else, and she
that's exactly. It's always a low self-esteem issue.
Yeah, and she's like, well, I don't think I have it in me to find anyone else. I don't and she doesn't want to be alone.
And this is why people feel bad for Shannon as opposed to just like being frustrated with her, like I am, because she makes you feel like, oh, she just doesn't have enough self-esteem,
right?
It's like, but she's also kind of a bitch. Sorry, wow, I need to chill out.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I get your frustration. She was very frustrating this entire season and this entire reunion, and I think that we would probably have more empathy if she was willing to like give us anything, like to hear people, to reflect. And because she didn't do that, it's really hard to give her grace. And you want to say how you felt. Like I felt frustrated the whole time. Listening to her, so it's coming out this way. It's very frustrating, and I think a lot of people felt that way. So I don't think you're alone in that feeling.
Okay, good, because it's like I feel like she's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Viewer question: why are you not mad at Tamra for talking about your relationship? This was an opportunity for them to show examples. Like, this was an opportunity for like them to, because Tamra's like, I didn't talk about her relationship. This was an opportunity for them to be like, you fucking did. When you first started, you talked so much shit.
Yeah.
You said everything that you weren't supposed to say. He leaves her in restaurants, leaves her in New York. Like, you said that on camera. So
it was just so funny that she literally, and I go back and forth on if she's just blatantly lying or she truly talks so much shit she doesn't remember.
I'm going to go with the latter.
I think so too. I think that it's just something that is so second nature to her that she doesn't actually remember that she said that.
Heather's like, I also feel like there was some misplaced aggression towards me. Why did you go around telling everyone it was me? And Tamra tries to lie. She tries to be like, I didn't. I said I thought you had a smoking gun, but then I watched the show and you didn't say anything. Huh? What? What does that mean? You told Shannon Heather's got some big thing on you, but you didn't even know what it was.
So you're bluffing.
She hadn't even said it to you. So you're bluffing, and
you've been bluffing. You were hoping.
You're holding fucking a pair of twos the whole time.
Exactly.
And you're like, fuck, I have nothing. Yeah, that was weird. That was really, really weird.
Again, it's like one of those things where like it just happens so often on these shows where someone's having like a one-sided argument and the other person and not real, like fighting someone, thinking that person is fighting that way too.
Oh, totally.
And
very much
not happening. Like Heather was just not doing that.
Totally that.
And they're all guilty of this. They all convinced themselves and each other that's what was happening. That's why it was so silly, because it was like you guys all like kind of tricked yourselves and then made yourselves into an ass.
And Tamra, you yourself knew that the relationship with John and Shannon wasn't good. And so for you to be like, Heather's going around saying stuff about your relationship like it was just so outlandish, like you hadn't, is ridiculous. You had already said stuff about the relationship yourself. What smoking gun do you think Heather really had? And if you don't know what the smoking gun was, how would you know to like warn Shannon when you yourself had already been one of the people talking about her relationship? Like it was purely a deflection in the weirdest of ways.
Yeah, no.
Andy asked Tamra why she didn't go after Shannon the way she went after Jen for being in a relationship that she didn't think was good for her. This tongue-tied Tamra. She was like, there's more stuff about Ryan, and Shannon just complained about things like him leaving her at a restaurant and in New York. Shannon, of course, is like, he never left me in a restaurant. Okay. And Tamra's like, you called me and she goes, no, I slept in Glam by Pam's room. I need to know who that was.
I still didn't get a straight answer of what actually happened, though. It's the thing.
So what do you mean? Did he leave? Or was he in the room and you slept in another room? Come on.
I still need to know what happened in New York.
Tamra goes, well, John's not a bad guy. And Andy goes, oh, so Ryan is a bad guy? Tamra tries to skirt out of that one, but Andy holds her feet to the fire. And so Tamra says that there was just more evidence with Ryan. And with John, they were just fighting all the time.
I will say this.
At
first, when she was doing that, like trying to get out of it, I was like, you're just full of shit. But I actually did kind of understand where she was coming from. I do
Agreed.
think there is I do see the difference in like what, you know what I mean? Like they're just like they should just not Shannon and John should just not be together. That doesn't mean that he's like a bad person. Like they're just like I don't think you know what I mean? And then the other guy like sending dick that's extreme. The dick pics and the cheating and
it's brazen.
Yeah. So I can see the difference. Is it right? No. I'm not going to excuse how she went over after Jen, but I can see in her head the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But all the grace I'm giving you, Tamra.
Yeah. Heather clarifies that she never pledged to like not talk about the relationship, but that, I did not repeat those things that you did not want me to discuss. And one of those things was what Emily said about John calling her a pig and fat. Of course, Shannon denies this, but how the hell did both get it wrong? Okay, both Emily and Heather heard you wrong. No, girl, you are.
And I mean, it's to their point. It's like you can't say that you. It gets to a point where you're like you say, don't say anything. I've only told you, and then you find out that you told someone else that. So it's like you're just telling everyone at this point, and now you're mad that we've all like started chatting about it. Like it's not a secret. You're telling everyone. So stop acting like people are like, I don't know. And the thing is, Shannon has said out of her own mouth on the show the most damning things about her relationship. Like he paralyzes you. Like no one ever used those terminologies with Heather. They just said that we think you guys are in a shitty relationship. Paralyzing is much worse to me.
His kids don't like me.
Like she said, like, yeah,
big deal.
None of them said any, and I think that is where it comes to. Like they all did general talking about your relationship, but they never really gave details. Mm-hmm. And Shannon's the one giving details. She's oversharing per usual.
And also Shannon, when she's like, no one else has to deal with this. Are you forgetting how Emily had to deal with Shane conversations? Like. Gina was being accused of not like caring for Travis enough. Like, there's shit. Everyone gets it.
Shannon,
Ryan, and Jen.
Fucking Vicky. Like come on, girl. You're not the.
It's always just happening to Shannon.
Yeah.
Shannon is like, she has very narcissistic tendencies, which is very confusing to me because everyone thinks that she's such a good friend. I'm like, she's really not. Like, she's actually a kind of a shitty friend, but okay, guys.
No, she's very
tricking people because she's victim-y. So she's like, you've hurt me and I'm going to punish you and I'm not going to talk to you ever again. And that like instinctually makes people want to like gravitate towards them more.
And what she does is she'll do something super kind where you're like, fuck, was like, you feel grateful, like what she did for Gina, getting her the lawyer when she was in that spot. But then Gina's completely right where she says she can't wait to use that. Like I did that one nice thing and she just keeps bringing it up. And it's just like, I don't do anything nice for me because I don't want to have to keep paying this debt.
Totally. It's always going to be there. All right. Emily's package, which was kind of like about how Emily turned into Tamra, which was interesting. I didn't see that coming, actually, that they made the whole package like a side-by-side comparison, basically.
It was good.
Yeah. Andy asks how Shannon feels about the Emily and Tamra being friends. And Shannon, of course, now Shannon gets on Heather for maybe not being open and honest on camera, but Shannon is just as guilty. She's like, well, I was nervous. I was nervous about the show. And and Tamra's like, just say you didn't want her there because you don't like her. Stop putting fucking words in my mouth. No, we all know you don't like people, okay? We all know. Like, you hate Gina. You finally said that about. And then she was trying to say, like, I didn't want anyone there. I didn't want Gina there. Emily's like, you just said you don't like Gina. So that's not, putting me in that category is not good.
Yeah.
Okay?
You don't like her. You don't like the cast. The only person that you actually like is Tamra.
Mm-hmm. And Jen now. And Jen for tactical reasons.
That's situational.
Yeah. Tactical, strategic move.
And she's harmless. Like, I think Jen is like such a non-threat to Shannon that she's like, whatever, you can be around. Like, she's like, I don't care if you're there. I don't care if you're not there.
Totally. Viewer question. What's with Heather saying that, or I'm sorry, what's with Emily saying that Heather has a phony relationship with Tamra? Tamra had heard that Heather said the only reason she's friends with her because she was afraid of her. Heather has such perfect control over her her language, her words. She's like, no, that's why I never went against you, because I'm afraid of you. And fucking Tamra goes, you should be scared of me. Did anyone else catch that?
I did.
Should be scared of me.
I did. I think that she stuttered because, again, I think Heather's really good at de-escalating. And I think normally someone's response to someone being like, oh, you're scared of Tamra. Normally someone would be like, no, I'm not, and like go off. And Heather's like, no, I'm just going to correct it. Like, it's not that I'm scared of you. I'm just, I know how you play, and I just would rather not. And I think that Tamra was prepared to argue with her, and she was kind of like taken back that it was just, she almost kind of gave her props a little bit in a weird way. She was like, yeah.
Tamra has like a knee-jerk anger response still, where she goes to like tough girl really fast. She's like, you should be. You should be. I'm like, you just
she was like literally kind of in that moment backtracking from her aggression, and she was just like,
you want to know here's what I think happened. She said here's the line. She says to Heather, I heard you are only my friends because you were afraid of me. And then Heather says, no, I just never want to go against you. That's why I'm scared of you. And Tamra was ready to be like, you should be afraid of me. But then Heather said scared, and she got her line fight. She's like, you should be scared of me. Next package.
I just feel like I feel like you could put a package together of all the times that Heather was about to jump on, Tamra was about to jump on Heather, and realized that Heather wasn't really saying anything bad. There was so many moments where like she's like, what? And then no, like I'm just saying, oh. like the head cheerleader thing. Yeah, like it's just so funny. Like Tamra was just like Heather was really good at disarming Tamra that entire reunion. It was quite masterful.
It was. Emily says that when Tamra was coming back to the show, Heather and her had a lot of negative things to say. But I want to be like, bullshit, Emily. You probably had a lot of negative things to say about Tamra as well. And then you made up with Tamra. So why can't Heather do that?
That's again, like I said last recap. Emily's energy is so annoying to me because I guarantee, like what you're saying, they were both equally talking shit, and I don't feel like the way Emily's like approaching the subject now in such disgust and disdain, I don't think she had that energy when they were talking about it in the moment. I feel like she was like living for it and like loving to talk shit. So like, just stay consistent, bitch. Like stay consistent. It kind of like, I'm not trying to discredit her being a lawyer, but it kind of does make me want to know like how she would be in like a courtroom situation, because I just don't feel like she does what, like I like her arguing tactics doesn't like, I don't ever agree with her. So kind of like to see how she would be in court. I'm curious.
Well, Emily's like, you said she was an asshole. And Heather goes, she is an asshole. That backfired on you, Emily. She's like, I'm not taking that away. She is an asshole. Tamra couldn't really get mad. She wanted to try to get mad at that, but she's like, I call myself an asshole, so I can't like really.
I know. It's like, it's not the worst thing that you can call Tamra. And she's, yeah, like you said, she kind of, she self-anointed herself as an asshole, and she loves that she's an asshole. Yes. So she's almost like, thank you.
Yeah, but then Tamra and Heather start going back and forth. It's Emily's package, so she gets annoyed. She's like, "Go ahead, Judy." Apparently, Judy's what she calls people who annoy her.
Who is Judy?
It's just someone she just says. That's a word she uses. I don't know. She didn't clarify it any further. Heather realizes that it's just them talking, and she goes, "But this is Emily's package, so let's give the floor back to her." Emily's like, "Oh, thank you, thanks, Heather." Sorry, she did a really good job. Then Heather just like fixes her hair, makes sure it's like back in its perfect place.
I'm sorry, Emily was just losing it. She was just losing it. But again, it's just like she just like literally just like lays back and just accepts that this is just not going the way that she planned. Like,
right? Exactly. So Emily eventually, she's like, we had a lot of misfires between Heather and I because you read me as malicious. And Heather's like, I read you as aggressive. And Emily says, see, but I feel passion. Like, to me, it's me being passionate, which I can give her. Yeah, I can give her that.
I also understood that as well.
Because like sometimes the way it comes out sounds like, whoa, but it's like, I'm just like excited about it.
Yeah.
But Heather, this is where Heather could stand to get a sense of humor. And I'm going to say that. She's like, at my party, you made a whole spectacle. Well, I guess good for me, though, because it promoted the whole thing. And Emily says, yeah, I should get a thank you note on HD stationery.
That was good. That was good. It was quick. It was good.
I wish Heather would laugh at it because it is silly. It is like really funny that she's making a joke about HD being all over the stuff. But like that is Heather's downfall, is that she does take her things very seriously.
It reminds me of like many moons ago when the one lady ate a piece of the bow off the cake.
The piece of the bow. The cake was very symbolic. And mind you, that lady was nuts.
Yeah.
But like it's exactly that. So she cannot find the humor in it. And like it's because she thought Emily was like being mean about it. Like it's one thing if you know people are your friends and they're teasing you, I guess. But if you're questioning whether they even like you and they're making fun of you, I guess it like kind of piles on.
Yeah. And I will say this, I do think there was an underlying meanness to it. It wasn't just
because it was about the Shannon, it's in the vault thing.
Yeah, it's like Emily at that time had some type of resentment toward Heather. So I do think but I think now she has to let it go and like laugh at it. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain point where we can't like whatever it like let it go. Like you need to have some type of find the humor in it now. I feel like, and that's Heather's problem.
They go back and forth about the snuffleupagus comment, which is just such a funny thing for them to be saying back and forth to each other. I know you were upset when I called you snuffleupagus, but this is why I called you snuffleupagus. Emily brings up how she said she wanted her fired because of the whole whale trainer joke. Tamra over there doing what Tamra does, being like, and Heather wanted you fired. And that pisses Heather's like, are you fucking kidding me? You had been talking shit about her, texting me all this stuff about her, and then you go and watch What Happens Live and totally changed your tune. Tamra starts getting all scattered because she knows. She's like, well, no, I knew I didn't like her, but now we're fine. Why are you trying to mess with it? Well, what are you doing? You're trying to mess with their friendship.
You can't say that when you're the one who just like, brought that up. Like, so she's not allowed to respond. Like, that's ridiculous.
Come on.
That's absolutely absurd.
Yes. Tamra was getting desperate.
She was, because she's like, she is in a good place with Emily, and she's like, but I do know how much shit I was talking.
Uh-huh.
To quote the ancient African proverb, I said what I said.
When my dad moved here from Florida, he needed all the doctors. He needed a cardiologist. He needed a general practitioner. He needed an ear doctor or hearing doctor, whatever those ones are called. I tell everybody I know about ZocDoc because I feel like we don't know where to look for good doctors. Because also you find a good doctor and then they don't take your insurance and it just is a hassle. ZocDoc is a free app where you can find amazing doctors and book your appointments online. We're talking about booking appointments with thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. You can filter for ones specifically who take your insurance or are located near you and treat almost any condition that you're searching for. These doctors have all been verified from actual real patients, not bots. The average wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between just 24 and 48 hours. It. You can even score same-day appointments. Once you find the doctor that you want, you can book them immediately with just a few app taps. No more waiting awkwardly on hold with the weird receptionist who doesn't really like her job. I have used this for my own appointments, but my dad has used this for all of his new doctors. He is so impressed, and he is hard to impress. Go to ZocDoc.com/SheSpeaks and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/SheSpeaks. ZocDoc.com/SheSpeaks.
What is this, honey?
Okay, now we get the Tamra and Heather package. the way they just put in her going, goodbye, bitch. Tamra's version of the loser's comment. Here's her version. Heather used to say that she wanted Alexis to come back whenever she was asked who she wanted. And Tamra was like, why? Meaning like, why not say me? Mm-hmm. And Heather said it's because she knew they would never bring her back. And I would like to understand that a little bit more. Like, what does she know? Is Alexis Polito like blacklisted? Why is she not allowed to come back? I'm just curious. But Tamra goes, but you don't want what's best for the show? And Heather said, what do you expect? I'm working with a bunch of fucking losers. Okay, I can kind of see it. Heather's version. She was doing press when this season was coming up and she was saying, it's great, you're going to love it. And Tamra was like, really? Give me a break. And Heather goes, what? I go, what do you want me to say? This is what they gave me to work with. And then I was like, okay, that actually, I could hear her saying.
Yeah.
That's more of a Heather thing to say. And Tamra went, whoop, and then like put it in her head.
Yeah. And I actually will say this. It's not a nice, it's the thing is, I don't think that
she wasn't wrong.
She wasn't wrong. And it's not like, I don't think she would want that repeated because she didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but like, it's true. This is what she was given to work with. And so she was like, making lemonade out of lemons out of lemonade or whatever the fuck the phrase is. But I don't think that she was like specifically like talking about Emily or Gina in you know what I mean? So it's Tamra putting her interpretation, her like twang on it, and a bad game of telephone.
And then later when she's like, I was calling Noella a loser, she just wasn't trying to clarify, like, that's not exactly what I said. But yes, there was sentiment there, and I was referring to Noella and probably Dr. Jen, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's probably who she was talking about. Like, that's who they brought me back with. Like, none of that made sense.
And I'm glad she did kind of, like, clarify that, too, because then I was like, I was about to be like, oh, Heather, we caught you in a lie. You did say that you called Noella a loser. But then when she clarified, like, I was just saying that was what I meant. I didn't actually say the word loser, but like.
Yeah. And also it's like you're making you're parsing these things out so much. Like,
yeah.
Why was this even repeated by Tamra? Like, why did she take it and run with it? It's because she was resentful that Heather wasn't saying that she wanted Tamra back on the show. That's clearly one of the other things. And then also had that podcast with that guy. Mm-hmm. Emily's big thing is that she was like, I'm not telling you, it's in the vault, and Heather denies that, but that's why Emily was so upset. And that would fucking piss me off too. If you're gonna tell me someone talks shit but be like, I can't tell you what it was, okay, then now we're gonna fight.
Oh, 100%. I hate when people do that kind of stuff. It's like, then just don't say anything at all.
Don't say anything.
Because then now I'm
thinking about it.
Yeah, I really do hate that.
Yeah.
But I also can understand Heather being like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have, like, because, again, rule of thumb, if you say something, it's going to come back. And she was like, I shouldn't have said anything, and now I'm trying to take it back. And I think in her head, she's like, if I just, like, leave it alone, like, this can't come back up. But it actually backfired on her. Big time.
Yep, big time. Heather regrets it. Obviously, she's regretting it. It was the biggest mistake she ever made. And then while she's talking about it, Emily's like, you're turning it around and making yourself to be the victim. And I was like, I don't really think she is. But then then Heather keeps trying to explain that. And Emily's like, poor Heather all day. I'm like, has it been like that? That's not the vibe I've been getting. It just feels like you guys have been saying things about her and she's clarifying her side of things. And like, you're all like interpreting her in a way that she's not intending. Like, that's how I
viewed it the same way. I actually, again, was getting really annoyed with Emily because she was trying to not allow Heather to say her side by over talking her and being kind of like juvenile, in my opinion. Like, poor Heather, like, she was talking so loud that like, to a point, Heather just had to stop talking because she was just like, there's no point. Like, I can't even speak because you won't let me speak. And that to me makes me automatically not even side with Emily because you're not allowing information to come in so you can assess if you agree or disagree with it because you just don't want to be wrong. And I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Emily and Shannon probably frustrated me the most.
I agree.
They came in with an agenda and they didn't want to change it no matter what new information came in. And I don't like that.
Agreed. Heather thinks that Emily could have come to her and pulled her aside and been like, okay, wait, I'm pissed off. What did she say?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than like harboring the resentment. To be fair, though, if Heather really did say it's in the vault, she might have thought even if she'd pulled her aside, she wouldn't have told her.
Agreed.
But anyway, at that point got really boring. Shannon says, are you really trying to say that you and I to Heather, we have never had a conversation about the cast? When Shannon did that, I was like, don't do this. You've all had fucking conversations about this. So I was glad when Andy was like, this is a common conversation for people to have about like, who's going to come back? Who wouldn't come back? Like, don't act like none of you have these conversations. And like, I agreed with Heather being like, when I do it though, it's picked apart. But Tamra's had it. Shannon's everyone here has had it.
Yeah, I don't think that that's a damning conversation. And it's also like, you can be friends with someone like and be like, I don't know, like just by watching it back, seeing viewers' response, like I just don't think that she'll make it. Because what the whole point of Shannon doing that is to somehow they were trying really hard to get Gina to be upset with Heather during that reunion, and it was so clear. And I'm glad that Gina learned from when she did buy into it during the season with Tamra.
Yeah,
that like take a minute and see why are they saying these things.
Yeah, totally. Shannon immediately starts to cry though, and she goes, "Well, Gina is saying that I won't be back." That she won't film with me at all cast events. And Gina's like, shut up. That's not what I'm saying, okay? And she explains the CPS she explains it to Andy because Shannon's like having a tizzy. She's like, the CPS comment was really upsetting for me. And I thought the whole DUI thing was put to bed last year when I said, don't bring it up again. So here it's getting brought up again. And I don't know if I can do that anymore. And Shannon may be more valuable than me. So Tamra goes, well, Taylor told us that you said, I'm not worried about Shannon because Shannon is getting fired. Drunk ass Taylor is not a good, reliable
Not credible.
source.
I sort of kind of wished that they did bring Taylor back out just because I'd be interested to see how she like, what her response
she'd
would
be like, you said, because she's so wild.
Yeah.
You said that you don't care if Shannon comes back or something like that. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. They're not in a good place. So why does it even need to be, why is it a shock that Gina's like, I don't want to work with Shannon again?
Yeah, and it's just something to be mad about and to argue about.
Yeah.
She just keeps on, Shannon's just sitting there stewing, trying to think of any reason why she can justify how she treats Gina and why she doesn't like her. And these are things that she just says. And again, I don't even think Shannon believes what Taylor said because who like that's not a credible
come on.
I don't need to say it.
Yeah, like no.
Taylor just talks, okay?
She's wild. Andy brings up what was said at BravoCon. He's like, okay, so what happened at BravoCon? And as Tamra starts to explain it, he goes, by the way, though, you've said terrible things about everyone when you weren't on the show. Tamra goes, but we're not talking about that, so fuck off.
She's so mad.
And he goes, okay, but it's a double standard. No, why are you trying to throw a wrench in it? Well, because I'm just pointing out that you were calling them losers. Right. And because she said it. So it's okay? No. Okay, then be quiet.
When she said be quiet, that was worse to me than the fuck off.
Agreed. It was worse than the fuck off. I don't know why.
Like,
but when she said,
you know
okay,
why?
Because
it's so dismissive. She talked to him like a child.
Be quiet.
I don't know. Something about that phrasing is so dismissive to me. It's so much worse than fuck off because fuck off is an emotional response.
And fuck off is also like, fuck off. It's like, but be quiet. It's a demand.
It's an intentional. There's like power in it.
Ooh, it made me so uncomfortable. My whole body was like, I was like, no.
But she knew. I felt after she like lost herself for a moment, I could feel Tamra being like, I gotta at some point come back from that because I do want to be on this show. Like,
it's true.
She was sitting there like, how can I bring this back later? Like,
don't worry, I got a plan. Tamra pulls out tears immediately. She's like, why I was upset was we sat at that wine bar and said that we were going to be good. And then days later, you're telling Emily and Gina that I'd been talking shit about them at BravoCon. Heather again's like, it was a mistake. I shouldn't have said it. I wish that Emily had come to me. It was Heather. That is a shady thing for Heather to do. Like,
absolutely.
we're cool, but also like not the dumbest thing to do because Tamra's not the most reliable. Like, she doesn't stick to her word all the time in terms of like, we're good. I'm not going to say shit. Like, Tamra's still scheming. She's still making moves, you know?
And I feel like because it was like a newly like formed amends, I guess. I feel like Heather, like for a moment, like also lost herself and was just like falling on old habits of what, like, you know, how, and then she's like, oh shit, yeah, wait, hold on. Like in the moment again, which is why she didn't even repeat it again. She was like, oh shit, we're friends again. Never mind.
Like, take it back. Forget I said anything.
Yeah, like I literally feel like she had a literal lapse of judgment. She was like, fuck.
Yeah. Like, we did just have that conversation. God damn it. God damn it.
You think they heard me over that blow dryer?
She like started and just like walks out. Like, I didn't say anything.
She's like literally really trying to like slow back out of that. Like,
she's like, huh? What? You know when like when you start a sentence and you don't want to finish it and you hope no one heard you, but like someone like you're like, you know, and then and you're like, no one heard it, and someone goes, what were you gonna say? You're like, no,
nothing.
That's what she did. She's like, fuck. God.
Yes,
you guys heard that?
Yeah,
you heard it. Damn it.
and then she probably really did think she was in the clear because Emily never really did bring it back up, and she's like, okay, great. No one cares about that. And I think that's why she was so like shocked at that fucking dinner at Mexico. She's like, what the fuck? Oh my God.
Damn it.
And I do think that, like, I always thought this during the when I watched that episode when Emily was originally bringing up in the bad game of telephone. When Emily, she's not wrong. When Emily fucked up that name, that gave her plausible deniability. She did not want to.
You think it when you think
Oh,
she really
100%. She was like, I didn't even say that. So I can actually say I didn't say that. I don't really want to bring up the fact
You're
that
crazy.
Yeah, like I didn't want to really bring up the fact that and Tamra sat there and knew too, because I could see it on her fucking face. She was like, that bitch is talking about me. I don't want to bring that up. If you're not going to say anything, I'm not going to fucking say anything. So they both silently didn't say anything. Like that, I was like, I saw the whole thing happen and Emily looked crazy.
Yeah. 100%. They talk about the whole, we already discussed this, but they talk about the, like, Heather saying to Gina, you need to distance yourself, but we've already been over it. It was meant to be constructive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because she probably has heard the viewer feedback about how, like, if Emily could be cool if she wasn't hanging out with Gina or something like that.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm just trying to help you out. This is, though, the pattern is that people say something that Heather said to them, and Heather has a good spin, a different version of it. This is like the fourth time it's happened.
Yeah.
What I said was, I mean, so does Tamra. Tamra does that all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much a Tamra thing, but Heather has done that. And like, I kind of understood Emily being like, so I never get it right. Like my version of our conversations are just never correct. She's like,
I can understand that. I do think that 9 times out of 10 they do get it wrong, but like there's a couple of times in there where I'm like, no, she's just spinning it for the moment. Like this kind of the snuffleupagus thing and like a couple of other things, but like.
Mm-hmm. And with the snuffleupagus thing, if I called a friend that and I would have to realize after, like, that was the most fucked up thing for me to say. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I truly only meant it because of the hair.
Yeah.
But like, I fuck, that's fucked up of me. I don't think, you know what I mean? But instead she's like, I meant it as a compliment. Not really. But
right.
Like, you know.
That was the thing that I really wish Heather had just been like, listen, was I doing it because I actually think you look like a snuffleupagus? Like, here's this is why I said it. Realizing that was probably a shitty thing to say, even though I didn't mean to be mean. Like, you know, I thought I was just making a funny joke. But you're right, it is a mammoth. Like, who wants to be compared to that?
Yeah,
you know?
My bad.
Exactly. Like, even because the whale trainer thing to me also, like, let that go. Like, who cares? You look like a whale. Like, those two things, like, I was just like, oh God.
Yeah, totally. Heather, at one point then, like, we're wrapping it up, and she says to Shannon that she loved getting that text message from her the other day because she really wants to, like, be friends. And I just, like, why? Why would anyone want to be friends with Shannon? Sorry, she's a nightmare. She would, like, she's brainwashing all of you to think that she's a fun time, okay?
Yeah.
She's not going to be fun for much long now that she's got that DUI. She's not even going to be able to have drinks with you. Andy asks Tamra how she feels about Heather, and Tamra immediately starts to cry. And she's like, I love Heather. She's good. Tamra's so good.
So good.
She really, like, she pulls me in, and I have a bad memory. I know that. So maybe that's why I'm like, okay, like, it was a hard time. She had close cut. Bronx had died. And she admits I drank way too much. And I'm like, a little self-awareness is kind of helpful for me. Shannon could use some of that.
Well, I mean, that is why Tamra gets away with it, because, but the thing is, she's going to do it again. And I know that's how she is. But the thing is, she's a self-aware queen, and she is okay with admitting certain things, and so that's why we can, like, let it go, because at least we're getting to talk about it. Unlike Shannon, who just will blatantly lie to us, and we get nowhere. So we get nowhere. We get no relief.
It's true. All right, they do the final thoughts. Tamra goes, what I am looking forward to most for next season, if you'll have me back.
There it goes.
There it goes.
That was the little, like, I need to bring it back. I need to humble myself.
When they do the cheers, Andy says to her, welcome back, Tamra. I was like, that's a statement. That's a statement. I like that we got them walking off and, like, leaving set, and Tamra goes and hugs Jen, and she's like, I'm done, I swear, whatever. Andy then is waiting for his car, though, and you could tell he's like, stop talking to me. I cannot talk to, because Tamra and Heather are like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm waiting for my car. And then Terry joins, and he's just not even looking at them. He's like, where's my car? And then he's like, okay, bye. I can't. Like, I'm so tired. We're not doing that right now.
Yeah.
And then they take off, and and Heather and Tamra are good. I like that they make up so easily. I prefer that in Housewives. Like, make up, go ahead and fight again. I don't care. It doesn't need to be genuine or anything like that, because it's a show.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you on that, because that's when we get into our, like, start to get resentment. Like, for me, Beverly Hills.
Ugh.
Most of this, whatever they're talking about right now, is just so petty. So there's no reason to not get over it and then start fresh for the next season. I don't need last season's bullshit to come into this season. Like, I would start over. I want a new storyline. Let's go. And that's that voice memo that never sent to you that I sent you yesterday was me talking about how Emily pretty much did not see it coming that Tamra was going to flip it and just be good with Heather, which is why I was like, Emily, don't ever just go in like guns a-blazing, because Tamra is not a girl that she is going to just completely do a 180. Like, she's
done it over and over and over again throughout the years.
And that's why, and if you didn't catch this, I felt like Emily tried because she was like, oh, I didn't know that was what we were going to do. And she tried so hard at the end to be like, okay, I can be cool too. When that was not her energy the entire time.
Totally.
Until Tamra was like, I want to be friends. She's like, fuck, we're friends with Heather. We're friends with Heather.
Yeah. And then, because then she goes, I do love you, Heather. And Heather says, I love you too. And it was like, that's what trust. You want to do that.
Yes,
Tamra will make up with someone that she's been enemies with forever, and you cannot just be on Tamra's team to be on Tamra's team, because she will ditch you.
Ditch you.
Yeah, you're done. All right, that wraps up that season. Now let's get into Southern Charm. And so this is saying goodbye to the rest of the main feed and hello to the Patreon. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to She Speaks Bravo with Emily Hanks. If you haven't already, would you mind leaving a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you listen? That would be amazing. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed and hit that bell so you don't miss an episode. And if you're looking for more content, more exclusive bonus content, check out the Patreon. I post 2 exclusive episodes a month, and I'm covering just the Bravo jams, like Classic Roni, Atlanta, and of course Vanderpump Rules. If you just want to support the show, head to buymeacoffee.com/SheSpeaksBravo and buy me a coffee, or 2 or 5. We also have merch available at SheSpeaksBravo.com. And if you're interested in hearing my takes on non-Bravo shows, check out my new podcast, She Speaks It All. I cover The Challenge, Drag Race, and any other show I'm obsessed with that's not Bravo. She Speaks It All is available everywhere you get your podcasts, just like this show. Make sure you're following me on the social medias. I am She Speaks Bravo across all platforms. Thank you so much for any support you give the show, even if it's just listening. Appreciate you, love you, mean it. I'll see you soon.